And in a world today where we have seen grave depravity and atrocities against the Jewish people, the world desperately needs to hear leaders with moral clarity. After the Hamas terrorist attacks on October 7th, I heard from Jewish students, faculty members, and staff about anti-Semitic attacks engulfing American college campuses. And I was proud to lead Congress to host a hearing to hold colleges and universities accountable for their failure to protect the Jewish community. Let me ask you a question. Did you see that hearing? Yes. The world saw that hearing, and I want to take you into that moment. It was the last question of the hearing. The most junior member of the committee yielded me her remaining 3 minutes, and I had asked earlier questions in the hearing going back and forth with the president of my alma mater, Harvard, now former president, and I had struggled to get a direct answer. So in preparing the last question, which was not pre-written, I wrote it down with a pencil right before and thought to myself, how can I ask this in a straightforward, moral way to force them to answer correctly? And it was not a political question, it was a moral one. And that question was this: does calling for the genocide of Jews violate your university's code of conduct? And one after the other answered, quote, "It depends on the context." And the world heard. Let me tell you, it does not depend on the context. It does not depend on the context. Those morally bankrupt answers, and I've been in many high-profile hearings over the years, I've never witnessed the moral depravity of witnesses like I did in that hearing. In 1 week, there were over 1 billion views worldwide. It is now well into the multiple billions, and there is a reason that it is the most viewed testimony in the history of the United States Congress. And it is because it exposed the moral rot at the highest levels of these so-called elite universities. And as I said, after the resignations of university presidents, 2 down, fired, 5 down, there have been 5 that have fired, and so many to go. And as a United States Congresswoman, I have spent many hours with hostage parents and family members, including Omer's parents. I have seen how you, this next generation of leaders, advocated for him, how you fought for and advocated and mourned Hirsch Goldberg Polin, whose mother, Rachel, the strength of Rachel, we are all humbled to be with today. How you continue to fight and advocate for the remaining 58 hostages. You have been bold, you have been tenacious, you have the moral clarity to fight the just and righteous fight, to stand arm in arm, side by side, with the world in demanding the immediate release of all the hostages held by Hamas terrorists in Gaza. Every single one. And you, hardworking and proud graduates, are entering into adult professional life at a time when you will meet this earthquake that this hearing set off, and you will meet this moment with moral clarity. Which brings me back to the Omer. There is a second, more celebratory lesson embodied by yet another Omer, Omer Shem Tov. Through the tireless efforts of President Trump, he was released from Gaza in March. And his return has been a beacon of hope and joy amidst so much darkness. Since then, he has been a beautiful example of Jewish tenacity and resilience. At only 23 years old, he has been traveling and speaking eloquently and passionately on behalf of the remaining 58 hostages. He is such a fitting role model for all of you, Yeshiva's Maccabees, who are entering a world where Jews are under physical and ideological threat, as we just saw last night with the tragic murders in Washington, D.C. And I want to remind you, here in the United States, our founding fathers fought to create a different kind of society, one where those threats to Jews should be a figment of the past, and one can look no further than our first president, the great George Washington. Washington wrote to the Jewish community of Newport, Rhode Island in 1790. He wrote, quote, "May the children of the stock of Abraham who dwell in this land continue to merit and enjoy the goodwill of other inhabitants, while everyone shall sit safely under his own vine and fig tree, and there shall be none to make him afraid," end quote. Well, it turns out that in the America of 2025, we still have to fight to achieve this ideal, and fight we will. And while these challenges we face together as Americans are significant, so too are the opportunities. As you go forward, carry with you the values that have guided this great institution at YU and the ideals that are the foundation of our nation. Not only accept the responsibilities, but the moral obligations that come with membership in this grand American experiment in our constitutional republic. So, class of 2025, you have had a richer and deeper experience than most college students over the last 4 years because you chose this special university to attend. I ask you to use this education you received here at Yeshiva along with the unbreakable traditions and faith that you have learned in your homes, and join me in the fight to restore our country to a place of light, of moral clarity, and liberty and dignity enshrined in our Constitution. Among you are the future leaders of the American Jewish community, of industry, of academia, of culture, and of politics. May you internalize these lessons and choose to fight the right fights with the tenacity, determination, and fearlessness of the Maccabees. May Hashem bless the work of your hands. May He illuminate your path, and may He grant you the strength to be proud Jews and compassionate citizens in our greatest country in the world. Congratulations and thank you.
It is now my privilege to confer upon you the Presidential Medallion of Global Leadership. In token thereof, we cause to be placed upon your shoulders this visible symbol of our high regard for you. May God bless you, Congresswoman, your husband, Matt, and your son, Samuel. May the Lord protect you and continue to grant you the strength and wisdom to serve as a clarion call of courage and conscience in a world that so desperately needs your voice and your leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating and introducing Congresswoman Elise Stefanik.